Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm going to answer a question from the community, as I really love doing and recently started doing. Feel free to keep these questions coming. Today's question will be from Mamuska, who's asking, can you actually live in Switzerland when just one partner of a relationship is paying for everything? And the short answer is yes, generally you can if the numbers add up. But it can be stressful, and if the numbers don't add, don't even try. It's probably not going to work. I think this actually kind of generalizes to most OECD countries. It's not super specific to Switzerland, but we can talk about the specific numbers in Switzerland. I always recommend, if you live, for example, in Zurich or in Geneva, then you should, as an expat, have a salary of at least 120K. It's not like this is the normal salary. Actually, the average salary in Switzerland is below that, even for the household income. So there are many other families who can live with less and have done that for many, many years. But as an expat, the numbers will be a bit different for you because you typically have higher rent than most people. Not necessarily because you live in such a nicer flat or in the most expensive areas, that is maybe a contributing factor, but really because many of the rental contracts, they're from many years ago, so people, it's unequal. Some people pay less and you are much more likely to pay more for the same type of flat, like than even your neighbors if they've been living there for 20 years or something. So this is why, as an expat, you typically need more. And of course, there's a lot of network and tricks and so on you don't know yet. So maybe in 5 years, you can also live at a similar price level, cost of living, but now you can't. So if you want to be on the safe side, don't accept a job below 100K, 100K in general, and 120K if you're in a relationship or anyone is dependent on you, be it a kid, be it your parents, etc. Anyone is dependent on you, because then you have, with 120K, you have around 8 to 9K per month in net salary. You still have to, pay rent, of course, and health insurance and all that stuff, but this should work out. Feel free to check out the details in the cost of living videos I made, where I explained basically the different budgets you should account for every month. So you'll understand how I come up with this number of 8 to 9K net is sort of what you should have to be on the safe side. And I have to say that, if you come from basically any country from the rest of the world, with the exception of maybe parts of the US, then you will say, whoa, this is a lot, 8 to 9K Swiss francs per month, this must be so much. Will I not live in luxury? And the answer is mostly no, at least not if you live in Zurich, for example. You will have a decent life, but it would not be luxurious, simply because the normal middle class cost of living is so high. So more importantly, you're also not saving that much. And that's the real risk, because there might always be some unforeseen events and so on. So in this scenario, you might save maybe a couple of hundred or 1,000 per month if everything goes well, which is it's not a lot. So you could even say it's maybe not so sustainable. It can work, it's a bit risky, it can work in the short term, you can try if you're young and so on, but it's maybe not even sustainable, even though all these numbers sound like, oh, this is so nice and luxurious and I have so much money. So basically the problem is, if you do that, then what do you do if you lose your job? If maybe you don't get unemployment insurance? Because the thing you have to know is, with unemployment insurance in Switzerland, I think it's actually a bit similar to most EU countries, is you sort of need to have some credits in that system. If this is your first job, then after school, for example, then typically your credits are 0 because you didn't pay into the unemployment insurance system before. Or if you come from outside of the EU, then your credits basically, in all cases I can imagine, will also be 0 because you didn't pay into the system inside the EU. And then you don't qualify for unemployment insurance if you lose your job. And this is a real possibility. Like, even if you're super qualified, especially as a developer right now, the last 2 years or so, I would say everything has slowed down, hiring has slowed down. So it's quite a possibility you might lose your job and you won't find something for a while, or not something decent that you're really comfortable with accepting. And then the next question is, okay, can you afford this? Do you have savings for, let's say, 3 to 6 months? Or do you just say, okay, I'm going back to my parents, I'm going to live with my parents for a while until I find a new job, and then I move back, and so on, right? If you come from a neighboring country, this could actually work, and if you're still young, and so on. But if not, then maybe not. Yeah, and so on. And so this is both a mathematical side where you can check all these criteria. Would you get unemployment insurance? Would your savings last, and so on? But it's also a psychological part. Are you comfortable with this? Are you comfortable with the fact that all the weights, they rest on your shoulders? Or is this stressing you out? Is this causing you sleepless nights, and so on? So this you have to answer for yourself. Do you actually have enough net income in the end to sustain the cost of living for 2, maybe 3 people? And then in the medium term, if you lose your job, how long can you actually sustain this without going home to your parents? I hope this helps. If not, let us know. I'm happy to make a follow-up of this, and then see you in the next one.